Okay, it's Rob again. This is video number 2 in a series of 3 videos. And what I have in front of me now is a small program called FoilSim. And what it actually is a small aerodynamics simulator that you can get on the NASA website, and I will include the link in my post once I eventually put it on the forum. But what it does is it's going to serve to explain a couple of the concepts I discussed in video 1. What we have here is a basic aerofoil, and you can see those streamlines of air moving past it. What this program allows us to do is change the angle. You see currently it's 0, and that's really all we're interested in at this stage. Okay, is just changing the angle. What we have up here is the lift, showing us how many pounds of lift are being produced, and we're showing how much drag is being produced, and then we're looking at the lift drag ratio as we change that. So we can change the angle of attack, we can go to negative angle of attack, we can go to positive angle of attack, and what it's going to do is allow us to have a look at how that affects the lift and drag being generated on the wing. The graph over here, we can set it up to display a number of things. At the moment it's showing our lift versus the angle of attack. Okay, so if we go plot, we're going lift versus angle. That's what I've got selected. If I wanted to, I could go drag versus angle, but we'll come back to that. Let's just look at lift versus angle at this stage. At the moment I've got 0 degrees angle of attack, so I've got 0 lift. You can see up here there's 0 lift. As I increase this angle, let's take it up to about 4 degrees. I've got 4 degrees. You can see this little red dot, hopefully it'll come out in the video, has moved up the lift curve. Okay, we're now generating lift, we're generating drag, and we have a lift drag ratio of about 11.7. okay, so that's a fairly efficient angle to fly at. Okay, if we start to increase our angle further, we're now up to 6 degrees. We're actually generating more lift, but we're generating proportionally more drag, so the lift drag ratio has reduced. What that means in our helicopter, if we were hovering at this angle of attack, is that we'd be using more battery power simply to hover. So the ideal thing is to get your helicopter hovering at the optimum lift drag ratio, which is about 3 to 4 degrees angle of attack. Now remember, in the first video I discussed that lift is generated by 2 things. One is angle of attack and the second one is speed. So what you want to do is you want to set up your throttle and your pitch curves so that your helicopter is hovering at about 3 to 4 degrees pitch, and you'll need to adjust the rotor RPM to achieve that, because if you don't have enough rotor RPM you'll need more angle of attack, and that's going to give you more drag, and you're going to waste battery power. So it's just a bit of a fine-tuning exercise, but I've found with the 450 size helicopters, to achieve about a 3 to 4 degree angle of attack in the hover, you need about 2800 RPM. 28 to 2900 RPM is going to do that very nicely. It's a nice, efficient RPM, and it's good for an efficient hover. Okay, now let's have a look at what happens here. Have a look at this airflow. As we increase the angle of attack, you can see the airflow is still flowing smoothly over the top of the wing. If we keep increasing it progressively, eventually we're up to 10 degrees. Now at about 10 degrees the airflow has broken away. It's broken away, so we start to lose efficiency. The lift to drag ratio has decreased significantly. It's down to about 7. So we're generating lift, we're generating quite a lot of lift actually, but at the penalty of more drag. What I'm going to do shortly is change this graph to show you how the drag on the wing or the rotor changes with angle of attack. Now I'll go back to 0 degrees angle of attack. We're not generating any lift, so the drag is at the minimum. Now notice what this looks like. Does that look anything like a V shape? It does. It's sort of a V-shaped throttle curve almost, because what this is showing you is the drag being produced on the aerofoil at different angles of attack. Now you'll notice that when I increase this angle of attack, the drag moves up. But also, once we get to 0 and move it down to negative angles of attack, we're still getting drag. Okay, so the whole idea of our throttle curve is to cause the engine power output to increase as our angle of attack increases, whether that be positive or negative, so that we can maintain a steady RPM. And that's what we're trying to achieve with our V-shaped throttle curve. With positive angles of attack, we need more power. With negative angles of attack, we need more power because we're producing more drag. Okay, let's go back to the lift versus angle. So what we're trying to achieve when we set up our helicopter is a hover with the optimum lift drag ratio. And if we look at the graph again, about 4 degrees gives us a lift drag ratio of about 11.7. I'm not sure if I can actually plot that. Drag versus coefficient of lift. Yeah, let me rescale that. Yeah, that's not really going to show it very well. Okay, anyway, this doesn't show lift drag ratio as a specific plot. That's okay. Alright, I won't waste too much time with that. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'll close off this video, and the final one will be a practical demonstration of how to actually set this up on your helicopter and how our throttle and pitch curves are used to give us the optimum lift drag ratio in the hover. Okay, thanks for watching. Video 3 to come shortly.